There was a knock at the door and Genji-san entered. Madam, dinner has been prepared. Will you eat in here again?
Yes. Have it brought here. Is Dr. Nanjo still in the kitchen?
Yes. He has said he wishes to carefully deliberate over his next move. Do not worry. He is with the other servants.
Genji-san's good enough at chess to be grandfather's opponent. I hear he's even better than Dr. Nanjo, right? That's right. Long ago he played against me, but he must have let me win.
Maria, sounds like it'll be time to eat soon. But look at you. You've been watching TV all day and you still haven't gotten bored.
I'm always watching TV, so I'm fine. Hey, Maria-chan. Sure is a TV kid. Bed's coming, so I have to clean up the table.
Earlier we had torn several pages out of Maria's notebook, and there was now a mess where everyone had been drawing together. That's nice. Jessica began cleaning that up quickly. Still, everyone here really can draw. I'd never guessed.
Genji, ask Eva-san and Hideyoshi-san whether they'd at least like to have dinner with us. Although they'll probably turn us down.
Certainly.
First father, now Eva-san. It's quite hard to gather everyone to the Ushiromiya dinner table.
Nancy felt her headache start throbbing again and lightly held her temples. Queen. The distance from the kitchen to the parlor wasn't that great, so Genji had gone and come back by himself, but the guest room was a little farther away. Natsu had warned him to avoid being alone whenever possible, and just now Nanjo had also admonished him, saying it would be better if he held a little more concern for his safety. Kanon accompanied Genji, and the two of them went to visit Eva and Hideyoshi in their guest room. Genji knocked on the door. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, dinner has been prepared. He waited a short while for them to come out, but there was no response. Oh?
Genji-sama, look at this.
Kanon pointed out of the door. Oh ho ho! A Western envelope had been inserted under it. Normally when something was inserted this way, it would be interpreted as a message from someone outside to someone in the room. So since this might be a private note meant for Eva and Hideyoshi, it's not something that Kanon and Genji were supposed to take interest in. But this Western envelope was one of Kinzo's, the same kind as the one Maria had taken out last night and surprised everyone with. There can be no mistake. Here's one of the Master's envelopes.
Or could it be?
Even though this was one of Kinzo's envelopes, the letter Maria had read aloud the previous night hadn't come from Kinzo. Damn right. Genji continued knocking a little harder and called out in a loud voice. Eva-sama. Eva-sama. It is Genji. Are you there? Please answer, Eva-sama. But there was no response from inside. Sometimes when the servants went to call someone, guest for a meal, that guest would be sleeping so deeply that they wouldn't wake up. Times like that, the servants would stick a letter in the door to show that it was time to come out and leave the guest be. But despite that, Genji beat even harder on the door and called out Eva's name. However, there was no answer. Kanon stuck his ear up to the door and held his breath and listened for any sounds coming from inside.
I hear something that sounds like the television, but I don't sense anyone. The room might be empty.
Genji took out a handkerchief, careful not to touch it with his bare hands. Gently pulled out the envelope that had been stuck under the door. It was sealed with deep red sealing wax. Without a doubt, the mark on that sealing wax had come from the Ushiromiya family head's ring. Eva-sama! Eva-sama! Please, answer! Are you still in your room? But there was still no answer. There was a chance that those two were aimlessly walking around the mansion. This was the home Eva had grown up in. There was plenty of reason to think that she had gone on a casual stroll. Genji groped down his pocket and pulled out the bundle of keys, which contained the key that would open the guest room.
Genji-sama?
Kanon also understood what this meant. They would sometimes unlock the door so they could go in and do things like make the beds, but only after they made sure the guests were out. To unlock the door for any other reason, and especially to do so when there was a chance the guests hadn't given permission and might still be in there, was an action unbecoming of a servant. But Genji had decided. If the only problem had been that his knock hadn't received a reply, he wouldn't have gone this far. But the envelope under the door was doubtlessly one of Kinzo's. Or rather, one of the Western envelopes of the Ushiromiya family head. After last night, the sender of this envelope could be someone other than Kinzo. This letter had been sent by someone else. Eva-sama! My apologies. Allow me to enter your room. After giving that final notice, Genji stuck one of the keys from the bundle into the keyhole. There was the sound of the door unlocking. And after slowly turning the knob, he slowly started opening the door. Light seeped through the crack of the door. Were they in the room? Or had they forgotten to turn out the lights? Clank. There was the sound of the door chain being pulled tight. The chain had been secured. The chain couldn't be secured from the outside, so it also proved that they were in the room. The sound of voices on the TV seeped out of the room. The lights, the chain, and the TV, all these things made it clear they were in the room, but there was no sign of them. Genji called to Ava once again through the crack of the door, but there was no answer. Genji-sama, what should we do? As part of their job, the servants were able to unlock almost any lock in the mansion. They had no way to open a door with a chain. The only way to get by the chain was to cut it. That was certainly not permitted as part of a servant's usual work. A creepy chill had already rushed up their backs. Kanon held his breath again and tried to sense someone through the door, but even so, he was not able to sense anyone. I will call Madam and return. Kanon, cut the chain. Yes. As Kanon hurried away to get a cutting tool, Genji called him to a stop. Wait, Kanon. Return to the kitchen and take Kumasawa with you. You must not act alone. Yes, certainly. It looked like Kanon was wondering why he had to do something so troublesome in the middle of this urgent situation. But Genji had said it out of wariness. He didn't care what happened to himself. But in the worst case scenario, he didn't want anything to happen to Kanon. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was piling food on the serving cart, and Nanjo was waiting for Genji, apparently wanting to show him a move he'd finally thought up that might turn the tables on him. But Genji's appearance immediately told him that something was wrong. Oh, what has happened, Genji-san? Dr. Nanjo, my apologies. But please allow this match to be suspended for the time being. Kanon, take care of the chain. Kumasawa, stop setting up dinner for now and accompany Kanon. I will go over to Madam. If you would come with me, Dr. Nanjo. Has something happened? Genji took Nanjo, who still didn't know what was going on, and quickly left the kitchen. Kumasawa-san, my apologies, but please come with me.
What has happened, Kanon-san?
Kumasawa said almost exactly the same thing as Nanjo, unable to take in the situation, chased after Kanon, who had flown out into the hallway. Taking Kumasawa with him, Kanon went to a storage room and looked through the tools packed in toolboxes hanging all over the walls, trying to find something that could be used to cut the chain.
What are you looking for? Let me help too.
We're cutting a door chain. Where's that large wire cutter?
A door chain? But why would you do something like that?
The chain to Eva-sama and Hideyoshi-sama's room. Even though they should be inside, they didn't answer when we called them. It took Kumasawa some time to figure out how cutting the chain Eva and Hideyoshi not answering were connected, but she didn't realize that this was an urgent situation.
That one will probably do the trick.
Kanon took down a very large wire cutter that had been hanging on the wall. It was called a cutter, but maybe it'd be easier to understand if we said it was shaped like a large pair of pliers. Kanon remembered once being warned that this dangerous tool could easily cut through one of your fingers. Kanon took that and rushed up the stairs. He already knew instinctively. He should fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Or perhaps it was already...
Please wait, Kanon-san.
Hurry. Kumasawa eventually caught up with him, gasping for breath with both hands on her knees. When Kanon changed his grip on the wire cutters and looked up at the door, he let an ah, struck speechless. Ah. Yep.
What is this? Eh?
Kumasawa screamed weakly, her face pallid. That was no surprise, because right there, on the door, just like the magic circle had been drawn on the shutter of the Rose Garden storehouse, there was another eerie shape drawn with a blood-like paint. However, it would be odd to call this one a magic circle, because unlike what most people would expect, it wasn't a circle with shapes drawn inside of it, but a slightly more complicated geometrical shape. However, those strange characters filling in the gaps, which weren't from the alphabet, were the same kind as the ones that on that magic circle on the shutter. But the thing that Kanon struck speechless wasn't how eerie the magic circle was. It was that something like this hadn't been here a short while ago. Oh. So were they perfectly fine before they got there? But now that, you know, they left and came back, that was the perfect time for Beatrice to fucking sneak in and actually enact her deed. First he had taken a trip back to the kitchen. After that, he'd gone to the storage room to grab a tool and headed right back. Put those together, and it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone add something this creepy during that period of time? And as though it had just been drawn, almost like the door itself was bleeding, several unsettling vertical red lines slowly dripped down, getting longer and longer. Kumasawa's knees gave way and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa hadn't done this first, then Kanon surely would have wanted to. Beatrice-sama.
It's the work of Beatrice-sama. How horrid! How horrid!
Kanon gulped, then readied the wire cutter and approached the door. He didn't want to get close to this disturbing magic circle. He really didn't want to touch the steadily dripping substance that looked like blood. And if he didn't get close, he wouldn't be able to cut the chain. Fighting this cold feeling, he gulped again, and after gathering his courage, he went even closer, putting the wire cutter up against the chain. He then pressed with all of his strength, managing to cut through the chain far more easily than he'd anticipated. The cut chain fell into 2 separate parts, which continued to clang as they swayed back and forth.
Kanon-san, there's an envelope by your feet. And is it that... the master's?
It looked like Kumasawa had also noticed the western envelope at the bottom of the door. And that sealing wax had been sealed with the head's ring. Kanon hesitated for just a second over whether he should open the letter first or check inside the room. But he eventually decided on fulfilling his original purpose. Oh god. Kanon pulled a handkerchief out of his pocket. This was so he wouldn't leave fingerprints on the door. If his worst fears were realized, the police would want to investigate this room too. He slowly pushed the door open. He was able to more clearly hear the sound of the television, which had been seeping out faintly this whole time. Eva-sama? Eva was lying face up on the bed. I already see the blood pooling out from beneath the... right in this area here. You can see the blood pooling out from under the beds. Oh god. On the bed with her shoes still on. Kumasawa had fearfully entered the room after Kanon, who was hiding behind his back, screamed a short eek again when she saw Eva like that. Eva's shoes had been the first part of her that Kanon had seen, so the oddness of wearing shoes in bed was the first thing to strike him. But when Eva's head shifted into his line of sight, Kanon couldn't help but let out a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Eva's forehead, something had been... placed? Something was growing there. No. Right in the center of her forehead. Is it an old-fashioned knife? That or some weapon like it was sticking out. Oh. At the base of where it was stuck in, blood dripped down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave way once more and she sank down on the floor. Oh yeah, here it comes. Golden Slaughterer, let's fucking go. This is my fucking jam. Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, let's go! Woo! Her mouth kept flapping open and closed, but she couldn't even scream. Eva was dead, with some kind of weapon sticking out of her forehead. Both eyes were open wide, and the image of the person who killed her must have been burned into them. But the only mouth capable of naming that person had been shut for all eternity. Even though her forehead was the last place they wanted to look, they couldn't tear their eyes from it. Right there, the weapon was stuck into Eva's forehead, standing almost perfectly upright. And on the handle was a complicated design that you wouldn't expect to see on an ordinary weapon. God's my fucking jam! That thing could be summed up with the word occult. It was a vulgar object, with a design that might have been of some demon. Fuck, I love this song.
What about Hideyoshi-sama?
Hideyoshi-sama. Eva was on top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? After taking a backwards glance at Kumasawa, still on her knees and stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. At the moment he opened the door, he was greeted by steam and the sound of the shower. The bathroom was of the same familiar style as most hotel bathrooms. When taking a shower, a waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. Is he being boiled in the bathtub? That waterproof curtain was half open. And lying tumbled down in the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked, both eyes open, and pointing right at Kanon. Just like Eva, a weapon with a demon-like design was stuck into his forehead.
Ah, damn it.
Anyway. Oh, the second drop's coming, though. I love the second drop in this song. Since his head had been under the shower's hot water this whole time, his face wasn't half covered and filthy with blood like Ava's had been. But the sight of him dead, while still taking a shower, was tragic enough. Just then, they heard Nazi's voice coming from the hall. Okay, hold up. Hold up, here it comes. Coming to my favorite part of the song, let's go! Okay. I'm sorry, I have to get down with it every fucking time. She's probably coming with Genji. Again with this graffiti. What about this letter? What does it say inside? I don't know. I haven't read it yet.
You shouldn't touch it carelessly. Gilbert's fingerprints might be left on it. You should hand it over to the police.
They went out of their way to leave it here. I'm sure they wouldn't have left fingerprints. As Nazi said that, she picked up the envelope. Before checking its contents, she entered the room herself, where she found Ava dead. Ava-san! Madam, Hideyoshi-sama is here too. This is truly atrocious. Kano, turn off the shower. Don't let this be any more pitiful than it needs to be. Yes, ma'am. God, I'm getting these speaker tags mixed up. Kano gripped his handkerchief and twisted the valve, turning off the shower. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen with its cap off. It really looked like he'd been attacked while taking a shower. Oh. Oh, hold up. Oh, hold up. Oh, no, shit's building up again. Oh, shit. Okay. I have to. Every time it drops, I have to get into it. So let's try to get through this as quick as we can, huh? Oh shit! I didn't read that last line. Go back. Still a small splash. There was still a small splash of blood clinging to the white bathtub, and the combination of red and white made a horrible contrast. And Dr. Nanjo.
I understand.
Oh, hold up! Hold up! Alright.
No signs of postmortem lividity. The notice hasn't begun either. It would seem that an hour or so has passed since they were killed. But even so, how a person with such a short handle could do that to the skull? I cannot imagine.
Nanjo checked their pulse and their pupils, making certain of their deaths once more. As Kano watched this business-like treatment, he thought, could you tell at a glance that they're dead without doing all that? God, I'm so out of breath from jumping up and down like that. Oh shit. Nanjo thought about removing the weapon, but then decided it'd be better to preserve the scene and hand it over to the police, so he left it alone. A close inspection of the base showed that it didn't have a blade. Whoa. Ugh. In fact, it was more conical than blade-shaped. He noticed that rather than a knife, it was more like a short-handled spear, something with a shape better suited for thrusting than slicing. Some people might have likened it to a thick ice pick rather than a short spear. At any rate, after looking at the scene, no further words were needed to describe what sort of terrible purpose such eerily designed weapons were originally made for. Nor was it necessary to explain how they carried out their function. Nazi, hoping to escape the repulsive steam filling the bathroom as soon as she could, covered her mouth with a handkerchief and dashed from the room. Just viewing their gruesome bodies for an instant had been enough to burn the image into her eyes. If she looked any longer, that image would surely remain in her vision for all eternity. The rising urge to vomit was exactly the same feeling she'd had that morning at the gardening storehouse. For a while, Nazi couldn't help but stand with her back facing the guest room, fighting that sickness in her stomach. At any rate, we can't let the children... We can't let George Kurt see this room. Seal this room with all haste.
Yes, I mustn't let them see. If George son saw his parents in this brutal state.
But they could tell that those fiercely racing footsteps in the hallway belonged to George, even before he came dashing into the room. Oh, fuck. George and the other children had been waiting in the parlor. Yeah, they probably heard screams and shit. However, when they saw Genji speak to Nazi, when they saw her turn pale and fly out of the parlor, they felt a sense of foreboding. When they saw a large group of people gathered around the guest room, they were sure of it.
Father! Mother! Ah, what is this? Another magic circle?
Oh.
Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi are safe, right?
Battler, come on.
Hey, Kano-kun!
Anyway. What's this all about?
Brother-sama.
Kind of didn't have to say anything. George's scream after he ran into the room told them everything they needed to know.
Who did this? I'll kill you. I'll kill you!
George Kurt, hang in there. Nazi touched George's shoulder with her hand, but he violently shook her off. George fell over beside Ava and buried his face in the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. God, my arms are actually getting tired. Holy shit. We need to wrap this up. I'm starting to sweat like a fucking pig. Pigs don't actually sweat. Anyway, then he pounded on the bed with his fist over and over again.
George-san, hang in there. Huh? Battler?
Battler-sama. Battler had his back against the wall of the hallway and was covering his eyes with his right hand, weeping without restraint. Horrible. It's horrible. Close to the girl he loved and lost her the next day. And on the same day, even his mom and dad were killed. Isn't it too harsh? Of course, it's sad whenever anyone dies, no matter who it is. But to Battler, those left alone by the deaths of others were far more worthy of pity. Everyone here now had lost someone close to them. George wasn't the only one to be pitied. However, George's pain was far greater than everyone else's.
Battler.
I know. Everyone dies sooner or later. If you're human, you'll eventually have to fight the sorrow of losing someone close to you. But still, shouldn't that day be far in the future for Aniki? And shouldn't those deaths visit him one at a time? Horrible. It's too horrible. That bastard! That bastard! Doesn't he have even a speck of human sympathy in him? Ah!
Battler, don't cry, don't cry.
Maria tried to comfort Battler in a mechanical sounding voice. Battler violently wiped his tears. Yeah. Damn it. I won't cry anymore. Tears of regret, tears of sadness. I won't shed them again. Yeah, it's all useless. I just got backed into a corner. Always on the defensive. It's useless. It's all useless. I'll spin the chessboard around. Yeah, I'm done bouncing for the day. I'm exhausted. Still goes hard though. That bastard probably thinks we'll be running scared like sheep until tomorrow before we try anything. But guess what? I'll spin it around. The bastard can't escape this island until tomorrow either. We won't be hiding away, pissing ourselves. That bastard will. I'll expose you. You'll see. By tomorrow? No, screw tomorrow. Tonight. Before tonight's over, I'll be gripping you by the collar. Okay. Okay, the song wrapped up here anyway. Alright. Yeah, I'm just saying right now, like, alright. If you're committing to watching this playthrough. I'm going to be bouncing every time that song pops up, alright? If it pops up again in this recording session, probably going to be a lot less bouncing, but when I come back fully energized, bruh, I'm going to be bouncing every time that drop hits. I love that drop. It hits so hard. I love it. Anyway, I really need a fucking drink. I am fucking sweating my ass off right now. Oh, God.